I think it was pretty clear last season during Ski-Doo's 2025 new model intro that I, along with many of you, were literally giddy with excitement that the Backcountry XRS would finally be available with a 43-inch wide trail front end. For anyone who wasn't as fully pumped about it as I was, you may be wondering why. For me at least, there's a very good reason. I really like a sled with a 146-inch skid frame. I like the added traction it offers, I like that they're uncoupled, which makes them super fun to ride, and I like that if I'm out on a trail and happen to find a fun pocket of deep snow to play in, I can without worrying about getting stuck. But it has to be understood that I am a trail rider first, so paramount to a sled's off-trail capabilities are its on-trail ones. And while you definitely could ride a 39-inch backcountry on the trail, it was definitely way less fun than on a sled with a proper trail front end. Polaris' switchback has always been my benchmark for what a true crossover should be. Equally as good on the trail as it is off, no bias one way or the other. A great trail sled that can hold its own when the groomed trail ends. And deep down inside, I just knew the backcountry had this very same potential, if Ski-Doo would just give it a fighting chance on the trail with a proper front suspension. This is why I'm so pumped right now. This Backcountry XRS is everything I always knew it could be as a crossover sled. But my excitement goes a whole bunch of steps deeper because this isn't just a backcountry with a wide front end. This is a backcountry with the new RAS RX front suspension and Pilot RX ski. It also now includes Ski-Doo's incredible 180 horsepower 850 E-TEC TurboR two-stroke engine. So there's a lot to be excited about. Before I go any further, let's just talk about RAS RX. It was heavily influenced by Ski-Doo's RS race sled front suspension, though the parts aren't the same. The lessons learned on the race sled led BRP engineers to design a new spindle and new A-arms that mount higher on the spindle and have the shock mounted further outboard. A new falling rate sway bar and, of course, the new Pilot RX ski round out a completely new front suspension package that has transformed the MXZ and backcountry models into sleds that handle quite literally like they are on rails. No inside ski lift, no unstable handling in the bumps, just flat, predictable cornering no matter the conditions. Clearly my opinion is that it works, because it does. I've tested this in a long list of different configurations and haven't found a single one that isn't a dramatic improvement over RAS-X in literally every way. This is the front suspension and ultimately the handling that we've been waiting for from Ski-Doo. Along with this new front suspension comes a new track spec'd only on the 43-inch wide backcountries. The Storm 1.5 and Ice Storm 1.5 tracks feature a multi-lug height design with 1.5-inch lugs down the center and 1.25-inch lugs on the outside. This allows the track to slide sideways instead of biting with the outside lugs when you're cornering. The results are a sled that, despite being 146 inches long, will still get a bit sideways when you want it to in the corners and feels more like a 137 than it does a 146. There is absolutely no question the number one thing backcountry buyers wanted from Ski-Doo in 2025 was the 850 TurboR engine option, and Ski-Doo is listening. There's no difference between the 850 Turbo found in the comp package and the 850 Turbo found here in the backcountry. The meth injection system is still standard, as it will be on any flatland turbo model. It still makes 180 horsepower and it still features shot starting. The only thing the backcountry doesn't get that the competition package does is launch mode, which is something I find very cool, but also it's just a gimmick, to be honest. Because the backcountry C-Motion skid frame is uncoupled, the power from the 850 E-TEC TurboR engine just feels way more playful than it does in an MXZ. It likes to wheelie over any hill or off of any bump. It really is just more fun and engaging to ride. Talking about power though does bring me to one of my few complaints about the new Backcountry XRS, and that's the brakes. While all early season MXZ models get the new 4-piston caliper, the Backcountry XRS still gets the older 2-piston unit. And this just isn't acceptable. The 4-piston brake caliper provides so much braking power and, more importantly, braking feel. This 2-piston unit feels vague and just doesn't provide the braking power you'd expect from a sled that goes this fast. Look, the fact of the matter is that no, the 43-inch wide backcountry with its 1.5 lug isn't as good off-trail as the 39-inch wide with a 2-inch lug. But here's the thing, it's way better on the trail. In fact, the improvements in on-trail handling is way more dramatic than the slight loss of off-trail capability. I've been surprised by the small amount of negative feedback that the 43-inch wide backcountry has received since it was released last season. There are people who actually think this sled shouldn't exist and that it's ruining the backcountry name. That's just ridiculous, and people who think that way should check their ego at the door. The 39-inch wide Backcountry is still available. The only difference is that when you spring order a Backcountry, you can choose what front end you want. No one is losing the Backcountry they currently love, but a huge group of people, as evidenced by the overwhelmingly positive feedback we got in our intro videos, are finally getting the Backcountry they've always wanted. This is most definitely the Backcountry that I've been waiting for, and I've been pleasantly surprised by its excellent on-trail handling characteristics and its off-trail capabilities. This Backcountry is poised to give the longtime class leader, the Switchback Assault, a serious run for its money.